Let's finish this. Move your ass and don't be late.
Copy. Brace for Phoenix hauling ass.
Gypsy to come.
Oh, it's a plane. Oh, it's Superman. Oh, run, it's a kaiju. Because when those massive monsters show up, it's time for the Jaegers to roll out. That energy is exactly what made Pacific Rim such an unforgettable experience when it hit theaters back in 2013. It reignited people's love for the mecha and kaiju genres, reminding everyone how thrilling it could be to see giant robots take on terrifying monsters in the most epic way possible. And even now, years later, that excitement hasn't died down. You can still feel its influence in newer shows like Kaiju No. 8, where the chaos of massive monsters colliding with humanity still gets people hyped. Because of that lasting impact, fans haven't stopped hoping for another movie. And recently, there's been a bunch of talk again about Pacific Rim 3, especially after Charlie Hunnam, who played the heroic Jaeger pilot Raleigh Becket, said he'd be totally open to returning to the franchise. His willingness to step back into that world has gotten fans buzzing all over again because it could finally mean a true continuation of the story in the best possible way. So, let's dive into what's happening in the Pacific Rim universe right now, because there's more brewing beneath the surface than most people realize. Recently, news broke that the Pacific Rim saga is continuing through a new 3-volume graphic novel series called Pacific Rim Final Breach. This new trilogy picks up after the events of the films and is written by Joshua Fialkov, with art by E.J. Su. It's being crowdfunded through Kickstarter, which is already drawing a bunch of support from longtime fans eager to see the world of Jaegers and Kaiju come roaring back. The first volume is scheduled to release in October 2025, with the following ones arriving in 2026 and 2027. That alone is huge news, because it proves the Pacific Rim story is still alive and well. And even though an official announcement for Pacific Rim 3 hasn't been made yet, the existence of Final Breach gives fans a real reason to believe that the cinematic side of the franchise could eventually return too. It's not just wishful thinking, it's momentum. Back when the first Pacific Rim came out, Guillermo del Toro delivered a movie that was not only visually spectacular, but also filled with emotional weight. The story followed elite pilots who controlled towering Jaegers in a desperate fight against apocalyptic creatures emerging from the ocean depths. It was loud, bold, heartfelt, and completely original, and because of that, it's still considered one of the most iconic mecha films of its generation. The movie's success naturally led to a sequel and even an animated series that kept the world expanding. Charlie Hunnam, known for his range and intensity as an actor, has never really been the type to return to his past roles. So when he recently said he'd love to come back for a third Pacific Rim, under one specific condition, it showed just how much the first movie meant to him. It also reminded people how much passion and craftsmanship went into creating that world in the first place. Fans have always felt that Hunnam's character, Raleigh, was the emotional heart of the series, so the idea of his return instantly makes Pacific Rim 3 sound like something special. The condition, of course, is a big one. Hunnam said he'd only return if Guillermo del Toro was directing. And honestly, that makes perfect sense. Pacific Rim was such a reflection of del Toro's imagination and style, his fascination with monsters, his love for practical effects, and his ability to make even the most outrageous concepts feel deeply human. Del Toro has always had this unmatched ability to make audiences care about the creatures, the machines, and especially the people inside them. So, if there's ever going to be a Pacific Rim 3, having him at the helm would truly make it feel complete. Even though other talented people have worked on the franchise, Del Toro's unique vision was what gave the original film its soul. His storytelling turned what could have been just another robot versus monster blockbuster into something heartfelt, thrilling, and filled with meaning. It wasn't just about battles, it was about resilience, teamwork, and the will to keep fighting no matter how impossible things seemed. That's why so many fans agree that Del Toro is the one and only choice to direct another Pacific Rim movie. Now, people might wonder how likely a third movie really is. On the surface, things might seem quiet, but there's actually a lot of reason for optimism. Because even though Del Toro mentioned back in 2021 that he didn't currently have plans to return to the series, he's never said he'd never do it. And with Charlie Hunnam's recent enthusiasm, the possibility feels more alive than it has in years. In a recent interview with Inverse, Hunnam said without hesitation that he'd do anything that Guillermo was doing. That includes Pacific Rim 3 or absolutely any other project Del Toro might want to tackle. That kind of energy is contagious. It sparks hope among fans because it shows that the cast and creator still care about this universe. And even though Del Toro has a bunch of other projects on his plate, like his Cabinet of Curiosities series and his highly anticipated Frankenstein movie, there's always room for a passion project when the timing feels right. So while nothing is confirmed yet, the enthusiasm from Hunnam and the continued love from fans make it feel like Pacific Rim 3 could definitely happen someday. If anything, it feels like the franchise is slowly building toward that perfect moment. And even while we wait, the upcoming Final Breach graphic novels are going to give fans a lot to look forward to. The first volume drops in late 2025, followed by the next two in 2026 and 2027, effectively forming a full trilogy in book form. What's great is that Final Breach continues the main film canon, so it's not some alternate story, it's a true continuation. That means we're getting official insight into what happens after the events of the second movie, filling in the gaps and giving fans new battles, new characters, and probably some surprising returns. This isn't the first time Pacific Rim has expanded into graphic novels. Legendary Comics previously released Pacific Rim Tales from Year Zero, which served as a prequel that explored the early days of the Kaiju War and was even made in collaboration with Del Toro himself. Then came Tales from the Drift in 2015, set during the first film, and Aftermath, which bridged the gap between both movies. Final Breach now picks up that legacy, serving as a natural continuation and proving that this universe still has tons of creative potential left. One of the most exciting things about Final Breach is that Raleigh Becket, Charlie Hunnam's fan-favorite character, is finally returning. Fans missed him during Pacific Rim Uprising since he couldn't appear due to scheduling conflicts while he was filming Papillon. But now, thanks to the flexibility of comics, those kinds of real-world issues don't matter. The story can finally bring Raleigh back into the spotlight where he belongs. For longtime fans, that's a major deal because his presence adds heart and continuity to the Pacific Rim mythos. It's almost like getting the emotional sequel we've been waiting for. The cool thing about graphic novels is that they can go places live action can't, both visually and narratively. They're not limited by budget or production schedules, so we can expect massive battles, unique Jaeger designs, and all-out kaiju chaos on a scale that would be tough to film in real life. And since Fialkov and Sue are both talented creators with deep respect for the source material, it's safe to expect something that feels true to Del Toro's original vision, while still expanding the world in fresh ways. All of this builds a strong case for why Pacific Rim 3 could totally happen down the line. The audience is still there, the creative energy is alive, and the universe continues to grow across different mediums. Hollywood has a habit of reviving franchises that fans are passionate about, especially when the right creative teams show interest. And because Charlie Hunnam and Guillermo del Toro both still have affection for the story, that dream isn't far-fetched at all. In fact, the graphic novels might even serve as the perfect setup for a movie comeback. So even though there's no official announcement yet, there's plenty of reason to stay optimistic. Between Charlie Hunnam's enthusiasm, the continuing story in Final Breach, and the enduring popularity of the franchise, it feels like we're heading towards something special. The Jaegers might have been quiet for a while, but they're far from gone. And when that alarm sounds again, when the world needs saving from a new kaiju invasion, you can bet fans everywhere will be ready to drift once more. Because in the world of Pacific Rim, hope never sleeps. It just waits for the next breach. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.